talk about anything. If you don't ask me a question.
Okay, and
Yes.
so just I don't have much time. My time is very valuable. I just want to know what is your new technology or new concept of therapy.
Yes,
So that I can learn
good,
something.
Good, so that's good. So when I saw that there is some good results sometimes with systems like QXCI and the other ones, I was asking myself, but how is this possible if it's not really an energetic effect? Because there is, you can do it with electrodes, without electrodes, you can have it switched on or not switched on, yes? So there is an effect. And actually, the founder of really, he was a creative spirit, like Bill Nelson, who started the whole thing with the SCIO, with the QXCI. He was actually a representative of BICOM, which was the German bioresonance machine, one of the oldest of this kind of things. And he was representative for this in the United States. And he found, people told him, we forgot to switch on the device, or it was not plugged in, and still people reported great improvements. So he thought, well, this can be made American thing. This can be turned into profit. We don't have to put anything into the machine. We just sell an empty box, and then it's the belief of the people. And this belief will cure the people because the people believe in technology. So we give them some electrodes in the hand, and we tell them we treat you, and then more than 15%, more than the placebo, will get cured. And they did. And so my question was, well, maybe there's something else than just belief. Because also it worked for animals, for children, so for people, for beings that don't believe. And I have seen this also with homeopathy. There's people who get cured by homeopathy even so they are not believing in homeopathy. Yes, you've maybe seen these people. They exist. So those people who since 200 years say it's belief, they just don't know what they're talking about. You can get cured by those things even though you're a total disbeliever. So then my question was, how is this possible? How can you explain this in any other way? And so I started to research the idea of what is information and how is it being, in what forms can it come? Not only words, symbols, pictures, but pattern, yes? And so there's many sciences out there that show that certain patterns have a beneficial effect on people. Let's say, for example, biogeometry. And Feng Shui. Feng Shui is all about the power of information on people's lives. So they don't talk about energy, they don't talk about frequencies. It's still, they are creating effects. So I knew what these scientists say about frequencies is just making people buy things, because 20th century belief system was about everything is frequencies. But many hundred years before, it was clear certain pattern, certain pictures, certain symbols, certain proportions, which is purely information, it's not energy, has an effect on our life. So then I started to say, okay, I don't tell anyone that when you use those electrodes, we are measuring your energies, and then we put energies back to you, and that's what cures you. Because the others were also doing effects, they were having effects by not connecting anybody. So, and then I found that all of them using a random number generator in different ways. Like this one uses a random number generator, a random event generator by having some noise created noise receiving from the headphones, and it's just statistical noise. And then they do some readings from this noise, and they get some results, and the results are often, not always, but they often are meaningful. And then the next step was, and this was the really unique new way of seeing all these things, is that all these principles, all these systems, that all have a certain amount of success. They are not based on energy, they are based on information. And they're all based, they have a central part, a random event, a random number generator. And so, now suddenly I saw randomness is not what physics believes meaningless. See, because physics only wants to deal with things that can be calculated, that have a pattern, that are fixed, that are predictable. But they left out all the part of our life, our environment, our nature that is not predictable, that is noise. So they're leaving out the biggest part of our existence, because the weather can only be predicted for 5 days, and then after then it's not predictable anymore, because there are so many factors. It's noise. And so all our more complex functions like thinking, emotions, they are not predictable. Why? Because physics thinks this is noise, it has no meaning. Now with the core, I said the basic of existence is that is what we cannot understand, what we cannot predict. It's what physics calls noise. So now, once I understood this, that it's not an electricity, not a frequency that it's measuring. Because some of them, they say we can treat you anyway at any distance. They are not measuring anything of this type. And still, sometimes they have good results. So, then I started to analyze the noise. I started to analyze noise from any source. For example, you can use it from a headphone, from an antenna, from a screen on a TV. It's noise if you don't tune it to a channel. And when you do this with a computer and analyze it, you start to see pattern. In this noise there is a pattern. And this pattern, if some pattern appear more frequently for one person than other pattern, then you have found something that is meaningful. You go through your whole life like this. If you're clever, you look for pattern in your life. If you're always missing the bus, maybe it's a pattern, and you have to look, this tells something about you. And so this pattern, we are looking in the core for, it's a statistical evaluation of noise, and then we find pattern. And that's why it's called, it was called from the very beginning, coincidence recognition system. So it recognizes something that physics completely throws out. It says coincidence is meaningless. That's the number one thing. Physics says if there's a coincidence that you always meet the same person randomly, it's just a coincidence, it means nothing. No, maybe you should go out for this with this person. Go for a tea or a coffee or a dinner, yeah? Maybe. And more and more things in your life, if coincidences are happening, they are meaningful. And you should start to see them and not say, oh, this is just funny. It's a just funny thing. Oh, it's funny, huh? I met this guy now for the 3rd time. I mean, see, funny coincidence, no? And then you just brush it aside because coincidence means nothing. It's just funny. It's funny. No? And this is what the core system does. It has a noise source. And this is this thing here. It's been used with mine already. It's a noise source. It's a semiconductor that emits electrons randomly as a noise source. And then when we analyze this noise, while a person is being evaluated, if the person is here or in another country, it doesn't matter, because we are analyzing this noise. And if we associate this noise to certain other information, if we see certain pattern coming up more frequent, we can make an evaluation. But this is based on a coincidence recognition. It's not a measuring. It's not like any other device on this planet. Measuring means having a certain indicator and having something that you're measuring. Coincidences is not measuring. So now, this was, then I understood I could do the same thing like other companies. I could do it reproducibly because I use statistics to find the coincidences. Means this is the only system in the world where you can analyze somebody twice in half an hour and you get similar results. Yeah? It's good because we don't change so much. Or whatever they tell you, they just don't know the principles. They know sometimes it has good results, but why they don't know. So they invent some ideas. And it's all 20th century ideas about energy frequencies. So now this system you can buy, and it consists only of two things, this and this. So that's the source, the hologram. I call hologram generator, but basically it's a noise generator. Just like the headphone, it's a noise generator. We could use something else. You could plug in a headphone or an antenna that's not tuned to a channel. Anything else would work. And this is just software protection key. And it contains all the data about what versions you have. So you plug this in your computer, you don't need anything else, and you can run now what I show you.